Hello and welcome to Simuldub Saints, your guide to seasonal anime dubs. I'm your host, Laserkid, and with me as always is my trusty co-host.
Hello, I am Archangel, lover of cat girls.
You've been listening to our theme song, Wherever I Go, from friend of the podcast, Ampren. Please check out their awesome music, link in the description.
And in this episode, we are shouting out Bellular news. More about them at the end.
Talk about a place I check weekly. Well, we're back. We were down for a little bit. Totally my fault. Sorry about that, guys. As we record this, 2 episodes ago just came out. And we had of the season preview in the can, but this is us getting back in the seat, as it were. And because of that, and the fact that the season preview did not have any news, I am going to briefly go over a couple of pieces of news before we get into the awards, just so that we can, give you guys some information. But the awards are coming up, so don't you worry. Well, we've always got to shout out our buddies over at Manga Mavericks whenever they make the news. I'm so proud of our buddies V-Lord and Lum Ramayasha over there at Manga Mavericks, doing their awesome work. But they've licensed Insignificant Justice, and they're forming an independent manga alliance between independent manga publishers. The fact that made Crunchyroll news makes me so happy, and I'm so excited for them. So our that's us covering our buddies. Exciting me to ridiculous amounts of hype. There's a brand new Galaxy Express 39 theatrical movie coming out. It's been announced, and apparently it's based on a story concept from film director of the previous movies, Rintaro. You're gonna take me on a journey to the stars. Speaking on Journeys to the Stars, we have a new Gundam announced. Mobile Suit Gundam RG-ZARX-ZERO. This appears to be an alternate universe Gundam, which is more common than Universal Century. I'm not sure if they're doing time travel or if they're doing let's fix the mess in front of us. But the tagline is rewrite the future.
Okay. Are they competing to see which Gundam series can have the least pronounceable and comprehensible title, or what?
I mean, this one's considerably better than XARX. I can pronounce
not really.
RG-ZERO is not that hard.
It sounds like gobbledygook.
I mean, sure, but compared to XARX, which I can only pronounce because of the show,
It's the one half a dozen of the other, I'd say. Anyway.
Moving on, the One Piece Elbaph arc English dub has been set to stream on Crunchyroll in fall 2026. Which, wow. I thought that was going to be a lot sooner, but hey, we'll get it when we get it, I suppose.
Indeed.
And our last piece of news. The idiots are coming back. Konosuba Season 4, which was previously announced as coming, is now confirmed for 2027. And we even got a nice little poster for it, which is pretty freaking cool.
Ow, my sanity.
Fair enough. Well, that's our news, and it's time for us to go into that fun award season that we do. And we're not doing the why is this dubbed award, because I'm gonna be honest, we're definitely gonna have to do that for summer because I'm watching a number of subtitle shows in summer. But for spring, I didn't really watch much other than the shows we were watching dubbed also. So
I have one big why isn't this dubbed, but it's for this season that started.
The summer season, yeah. Well, I've got several of those. And we'll deal with that when we do summer awards. So the award is on reprieve for this season. And so we're going to start, as we always do, with the best character arc. So, Arc, why don't you tell us your number 3 best character arc?
Well, my number 3, and I should emphasize that this isn't done yet, but Agat from Witch Hat Atelier.
Excellent choice. I wish I'd thought of that, honestly.
Yes, so she is in the middle of a rather dramatic character arc, uh, and it'll be interesting to see where she winds up.
Fair enough. My number three goes to Will Surfort for Story of Wanted Sword Season 2. He has to really catch himself by the balls in this second season and really has to man up, and he does. And even then, he's got to go, oh, I've got to figure out what my damage is. And he pushes through and forces himself through. And it's so awesome to see.
Yep, so much so that he is my number two for those same reasons.
And as always, I white out my choices. I tend to put mine in way before you do. So you
Mhm.
had no idea I had picked him.
Nope.
Nor I you, because when I was putting him in, you hadn't picked anything yet. So it's funny how that works out. My number two goes to Tetsuo Yabusame from Snowball Earth, because I mean, look at our little boy. Look at where he went at the end of that season. Just watching this really timid, socially awkward character actually grow and become more out there slowly throughout the series, only to have to basically really force himself to really push himself out there. And he did. God, I'm so proud of him.
All right. And it
And
looks like we have the same number one.
which says a lot given our separate picking. So this is going to be really funny.
Yeah, who else could it be but Miss Ruby Hoshino from Oshino Ko, who is just going
Oh my
through
gosh.
a whole series of ringers.
I almost put Aqua. We've done it for him before back in season two. But to be honest, in season three, it's
This was
really
Ruby's
Ruby.
season, I
It
think.
really
Yeah.
was. I completely agree with you. Because she goes through she goes through the realization. She finds out a lot of information. She learns that Aqua's the doctor. Oh god, that had me in tears, dude. Um, and she goes through the ringer, the whole ringer, but she also, aside from that, is also forcing herself to learn to be a better actress. Holy cow. Ruby's on fire this past season of Oshinoko.
Yeah. Well, I hope life isn't that horrible and stressful for most people in the entertainment industry.
Hopefully it's not that extreme, yeah.
Well, next up would be best soundtrack. So, okay, what's your number three?
The first one I thought of. It's not my number one, but it's the first one I thought of when I was thinking of soundtracks. My third place is an observation log of my fiance who calls herself a villainess, because, gosh, it's such a evocative soundtrack. It's got perfect mood pieces for everything you can think of, and it carries itself very well.
Fine choice. So my number three is Ascendance of a Bookworm because again, it's nothing too dramatic, but it just syncs so well with the world as I know it, and I know this world very, very well.
I
That it
agree with
stood
you
out
on
for
that.
me personally. So
No, that's an excellent choice, and I definitely would agree with you that that's a great soundtrack. Um, Fantastic choice.
mhm.
My second place goes to Which Had to Tell You, and it's all about the folksy music that they use in that. The
Yep.
various, I don't know how to properly describe it, but
Yeah, I
the
know what you mean.
flutes and the drums and the just, oh my gosh, it carries it.
Mhm. Excellent choice. And again, it's hard because when a show is doing this right, you don't notice it.
Yeah, no, I have
So
to. When a season is wrapping up, when I usually pick my stuff like the last couple of weeks of a season, I start listening in for them is what I have to do. Because it is that hard, you're right.
we should do that. But one show that's always had consistently good music, which is why I kind of defaulted to it, because I'm not sure I've shouted it out for this specifically before. If I did, then my bad. But Doctor Stone.
An excellent choice. Wish I thought of it, honestly, because that has some very evocative music. And I can hear it in my head as soon as you say that.
Right.
Dr. Stone's soundtrack is god tier. Excellent choice. My number one goes to Ages of the Four Seasons because nothing quite evoked emotions from me musically like this show did. I mean, the show does a good job of that in general, as you're going to hear from me throughout the rest of this awards. But oh my gosh, that soundtrack.
Yep. What it does very well. Now, it kind of lost me at a certain point because I'm not the target audience, but it is top tier anime.
So what's your number one?
My number one, and this was of the handicap that it's won this several times before, but even so, Oshinoko. Because
fair enough, because that is a really good soundtrack.
There's that, and the shows about music always seem to have a leg up here, and one would hope at least. But yeah, it's like even with all those handicaps, that's the thing, I couldn't give the number one to anyone else because it just is masterful.
Indeed. Well, now we head into the fun parts where I have fun editing. But before we get into best intro and best closing, this was a very competitive field.
Extremely, particularly for intros, at least for me.
For me, it was both. Like I literally have a 4 through 6 listing for both of them. And I'm not going to put them in the out specifically like by number, but I do want to shout out a few that I don't believe came up. For endings, it's What Now Burns Within My Chest by I Higuchi for Snowball Earth, because every time that picks up, it's just really exciting and really gets the ball rolling for me. Rocket by Burnout Syndrome for Dr. Stone Science Future, the last season. Holy shit, that ending was also really good. And then for intros, I'm going to shout out Kaze no Anthem by Eve, featuring Suisse of Yorishika for Witch Hat Atelier, because oh my god, that intro. And then the last one I want to shout out is the opening to That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime Season 4, Eso Ragoto by Air Aoi, and that's just wow. Now, you'll notice I didn't do 6, I did 4. That's because some of my other choices ended up on ARC's list. But ARC, why don't you start us off with your third place best intro?
Okay, so my number third best place is Believers by Ash the Hero, or the Hero, for Wisteria, Wand, and Sword. And
fantastic choice.
Yeah, the pure determination showcased in the song really fits.
Because I literally numbered it, this is literally my number 4.
Yeah.
It is a highly energetic song. A beautiful song.
Yeah. But just more than just energy, it is full of just raw determination. And also the message of with the lyrics of, I know where I belong and I'm going to get back there no matter what.
Perfect intro for Wisteria, Wand, and Sword. I loved it too.
Exactly. So what's your number 3?
My number 3 goes to the happiest little intro I've ever heard. Pages by Little Glee Monster for A Sentence of a Bookworm, Adopted Daughter of an Archduke. Just such a happy, exciting song for a happy and exciting season of Bookworm. It's kind of a celebration, and it was really nice to see it come through when it hit. The animation, when you watch the second version, the first version had that AI problem because some animator tried to cheat their job. They fixed that really fast. But if you watch the proper version, man, it pops.
Indeed. So, my number 2 is Killer Kiss by Yurina Hirate. The very, very appropriate opening of Marriage Talks. And here we get to where it's not just the song, it's the animation that goes along with it. Oh,
absolutely. I agree so much. It's my number 1.
And it uses one of my favorite visual tropes, which doesn't have to go along with music, is the contrast of two different people getting ready for something.
Mm-hmm.
Also used to great effect in the opening of probably my favorite movie, which was V for Vendetta. But anyway.
It's a really catchy song that's stuck in my head as an earworm repeatedly. And it's when it really gets into the chorus of it, it's just like, oh my god, it's exploding. Not my type of music usually, but it's done so well. Yeah, no, that's literally my first place pick.
Yeah, and it even more important, it fits the show perfectly.
It does. It really does. That's why that got my number one. But I suppose I should tell you what my number two is, since that was your number two. And it's Test Me by Chan Mina for Oshinoko Season 3. I hated this intro when I first heard it, but it grew on me a lot over time. And it continues the process of having banger intros for Oshinoko for every single season it's in. And it really carries the energy and the emotion of the season very well, both musically and visually.
Oh yeah, it grabs you by the heart. It's definitely my number 4.
Fair enough. Well, what's your number 1?
Well, my number 1 is Attitude by Aespa, I believe is how you pronounce that, for Kill Blue. Kill Blue, just for me, swept both intros and endings. Spoiler alert.
I mean,
it's just, it was just perfect on both counts. And I'm pretty sure, I know the closing song was written for the show. I'm pretty sure this opening was too.
I don't know about that, but it could be. I don't know one way or the other to tell you.
Well, going by the lyrics for the closing, it was written for the show. I didn't check though.
I'm not sure. I mean, it doesn't have to be.
No. It could not be for anything else. For the closing. But anyway, yeah, just holy shit.
Okay then. I suppose it's time for us to talk about best closing. And it's my turn, so we're going to go with my third place pick, which is the first one I thought of, because nothing carried me this strong as this in general, because I went out and bought this song. And it's Magic by Loevo for an observation log of my fiancée who calls herself a villainess. The song is perfect for the little romance that season was, the show was. And it really captures the emotions of the show very well, and the visuals go perfectly with it. And I also want to comment, because I've actually interacted with this musical artist. Loevo actually was not doing very well on his music, and he was getting ready to give up music altogether before this song got picked up for this anime and blew up and changed his life.
Cool.
And from what I could tell, this has got big fans both in Japan but also America. And if you want to buy it, it is not on Amazon, but it is in iTunes.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. I had to give it third place. I would be higher, but we've got some other awesome ones.
Indeed. So my number 3 is Katsubo by Sion.
That's how I pronounce it.
I guess. Yeah, for Reslime Season 4.
I agree so much. That's actually my number 1.
And yeah, it's just adorable.
I would not call that adorable, but it's incredible.
Oh, no, wait. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of something else. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I like adorable. It's got Maribel running up the stairs, being covered in blood.
No.
What do you mean adorable?
Never mind. I was thinking of the previous one. So no.
Oh, yeah, no.
But no,
it's... Part 2 ending was really cool.
Yeah, it's fucked up and, again, evocative.
It's incredibly evocative, and it's got that motif of Maribel, losing sand, and it's like she's running out of time. Well, she really was.
Well, there's that, and just I forget where this quote is originally from, but it's "I am in blood so steeped."
Oh yes, and that is 100% what was going on with her. And they really, it is a striking ending.
Yes.
Nothing hit me the way that one did. That's why I gave it first place, because it just, yeah, is it my favorite? No, it is not actually my favorite, but it is the most striking of all the endings this season for me. If I was gonna go by favorite, it's probably my number 2.
Okay. Well, what is your number 2?
Well, my number 2 is Way Out by Yama for Demons of the Shadow Realm, because holy cow, it is it is a relaxing lullaby that also has, at the same time of being a relaxing lullaby, just that little bit of sense of danger going on that really fits the series as a whole.
Hmm.
The animation also goes with it. It kind of shows a almost a what things could be if these people would stop trying to murder each other. Because you kind of get this, like, look, everybody's friendly and nice. It's like, oh, if only, if only. It's its own little lullaby of what could be, and it fits so well with what the show is.
Right. Well, not my number 2 is Serenade by Natori for Oshi no Ko.
An
And
excellent choice.
yeah, so first of all, the song
It's
itself,
actually my
I love.
on my it would have been on my list as well. It got pushed out, but it's a fantastic choice.
Okay, so there's a couple layers here. So first of all, the song itself is fantastic. I love this sort of song. It's a bop. Um, but also the movie that goes along with it, because the song is just, charming, stylish, fun. But the movie that goes along with it really does a great job of encapsulating specifically Ruby and Aqua's relationship as it's developing. And it just rips your fucking heart out.
It really does. I can definitely agree with you on that one.
All right.
Well, I guess you got to tell us who your number 1 is, which I absolutely respect.
Yeah, my number 1 is Kill Shot by, it's either Rise or Rize, I think, from Kill Blue, which is just such a mood.
Oh, it is. It was one that I considered multiple times. For me, I ended up not picking because the part that I really find really enjoyable is just like the ending line. Here comes my kill shot. I love that. But the rest of it,
Yeah.
as I thought, of it, it's not bad, but it's not the part that really gets me going.
Yeah. And yeah, seriously, if you're curious, look up the translated lyrics. It was written for this show, or because it's talking about being reduced to a child and blah 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 blah. But again, just yeah. And it goes
Then.
far beyond violence. This idea that I am just going to do my thing, and nothing is going to stop me because I'm a winner, as it puts it.
Well, all right then. I mean, Kill Blue is absolutely a fantastic show, and yeah, no,
Oh yeah.
I enjoyed both that intro and ending, which you have absolutely pushed to your number 1. I wouldn't have put them there. I didn't, but that doesn't mean they're not good. They're fantastic. Excellent
Well,
choices, man.
these are our awards, not in any way objective. So
Right. No, and what I find interesting is some seasons where we differ, I'm like, what are you smoking? But some seasons like, okay, it's different, but I totally get it, and this is one of those.
fair enough.
Well, we're into the awards that exist because you're in the podcast.
Once again, you're welcome.
And I'm sorry. Why don't you tell us, Ark, about your number 3 waifu?
Okay, so this is one that's purely personal, but that is Miss Kuru from an observation log of my fiance who thinks she's a villainess because she is just so cute, and I want to scritch her.
Fair enough.
And
This
yes, I know
season,
she would claw me. I don't care.
I totally pulled a you. I don't normally. I'm doing pairing
Okay,
because
well,
we had 3 very awesome couples in my estimation, and my third place has gotten this award before, which is why
mhm,
she's in third place. Otherwise, she'd be much higher. Akane Kurakawa from Moshi no Ko.
mm,
Also,
well,
Marry Me Woman.
yeah.
So,
At this
what's
point, yeah, she needed a lot of help at this point.
she's doing her like honestly, she's doing anything you could ask her to.
Right. But
So, what's your number two?
my number two would be Tia, the leading lady of again observation log, because
Well, I
she is
agree
just
so much.
adorable.
I agree so much. Bertia Evil Noches is my number one.
Y- Yeah,
She is such a spaz, but her heart is such in the right place. You gotta
she
love
is
it.
too pure.
She is too pure. I can only think of one character I consider to be pure in this season, and that's actually my number two. And that would be Hinagiku Kaio for Agents of the Four Seasons. Just you want to talk about someone who I was just rooting for the entire time to get together with her lover. I was
Mhm.
rooting for Nagiku the whole time. She's so adorable. She's gone through hell, but and not let it ruin her. She goes on and on throughout the whole season about how she's not the same. Of course, you're not the same. You went through hell, but she didn't let it ruin her. She came stronger, yes, but she kept the core. Against what she says, I say she kept the core of who she was.
Hey.
Well, why don't you tell us your number one? We already know
Well,
mine because it
yet
came up.
again, yep, and yet again in the category of too pure for this world, Llamas
That's
uh
an excellent choice.
from Vending Machine.
Fair enough. Might be our last chance. That felt like a pretty final season. Well, I guess
Yeah,
we'll see
well,
it. But
again, because as we'll see, she is my second and first places are again couples. So
fair enough. Well, I did that for every single pick pairing this time. So
mhm,
my husbando list is about to become very, very, very obvious. But I suppose we should start with the best husbandos.
indeed.
Um, so for third place for me, it's Aqua Hoshino for Oshinoko because I mean this guy did not dump Akane because he doesn't love her anymore. He dumped her because he loves her and doesn't want her to get hurt.
Yep.
God damn, dude.
Yep. He's getting her out of the line of fire.
And you better believe I know that there's like several ladies that are vying for Aqua. I totally ship Akane and Aqua. Those two are like actually have love as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah.
Kana has what
Although,
I'd say is puppy love.
yeah, kind of doesn't know what she wants yet, and God help us all when she figures out what she wants. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't know anything about the plot, and for goodness sake, don't tell me. But I just have this horrible gut feeling that Akane is not going to survive the story. I
I
couldn't
will
tell you
not tell
why.
you.
I couldn't tell you why.
I do know the answer to that, but I'm not going to tell you.
Yes, which is why I said don't say anything. Anyway, all right. And so my number three does not have a waifu. In fact, that's kind of the whole point is that that's very much up in the air. But Hikaru Gero of Marriage Toxic is,
Excellent choice.
oh God, whoever catches him is going to be one lucky lady.
I can't argue that. Hikaru Gero's an excellent choice for a husbando. He's also pretty hot.
Mhm.
Well, speaking of hot, this is probably the hottest one on my list. If you're going purely by looks, Rose Kansubaki in Agents of the Four Seasons. Because, oh my god. What a Chad Rose is in general, but also, dude, look at the guy.
Okay.
Easily my favorite character in the whole damn show. So who's your number two?
My number two is Prince Cecil from observation log of my fiance who calls herself a villainess because yeah, he
Oh,
and
dude is
Bertia make
amazing.
a perfect couple.
Zero argument. That's why he's my number one. He is the absolute best husbando I could ever see anyone picking. The devotion levels are off the charts with this one. He is a great romantic interest for that show, and a fantastic character overall.
Indeed. And so my number one is Master Boxo from
You
Vending
in that
Machine.
box.
What?
Oh, I just think it's funny. I totally get it. It's just funny because you like to award Boxo things, and I get it. Boxo's fun.
Yeah. Well, and also because we find out that at the end of this, spoiler alert, he and Llamas are able to be together. And so, you know,
Fair enough. Well, that's the waifus and the husbandos. It's time to find out who's the biggest Chad. So, Ark, who's your third biggest Chad?
that would be, for me, Ryu Tadara of Demons of the Shadow Realm.
I wish I thought of him. I really, really should have. That
Yeah.
is a fantastic choice. My
Because
third place. Oh, go ahead. You got some
because
more
I was
stuff.
gonna say he I think knows more than almost anyone else in the main central cast of what's going on, and he has the ability and frankly the good sense to just cut and run and vanish, and he's still here. I'm not sure what he
What an
owes to anybody involved, but he's still there.
what I get the sense of when I think of Ryutadara is this is a man who is not just devoted to duty as to a specific loyalty,
Yeah.
but a duty to do the right thing, period. And
Right,
that
and that's
is
why
so
he's still
rare.
here. He has, he has the resources. He could just vanish and go
Oh,
anywhere he
absolutely.
wanted and be fine.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. No, that's a fantastic choice. Better choice than my third place, honestly. But
Well,
I
I
had
think
to.
deserved. No, deserved your third place.
He doesn't get higher because I sussed the crap out of him. But my third place is Keyfree from Witchat Atelier because, dude, when he does do the crazy awesome shit he does, holy shit. And as much as I suss him, he does have a slight protective instinct to him that I do respect.
Right. And yeah, I mean, you know, where it sits in his priority queue is an open question, but he definitely there's no question he cares about his girls.
No, no question about that. He does care. Of that, I will totally agree. So, who's your number two?
That would be Risui Nanami of Dr. Stone. And for one reason above all,
Yeah,
because the greediest man in the world was able to give up something that he wanted so bad for the sake of
that
everyone
is an
else.
excellent reason to put him there, and I actually do have a lot of respect for him for that. So that's
Yeah.
I am glad you put him in there because I didn't.
Yeah. It was for that one moment.
No, that's a great choice. My number two goes to the man making the kill shots, Juzo Ogami of Kill Blue. Because I
A fine
mean,
choice.
dude, you want to talk about Ryotadara's sense of duty of the right thing? Even before he got put back to a kid, it was very made clear to me. Juzo Ogami, he's a hitman, but he's a hitman for all the right reasons to be a hitman. He clearly cared about who he was going after being someone that deserved it and not to hurt people who were innocent. And as we've seen him grow throughout having to be a kid again and experiencing that, it would be a lot easier for him if he was a lot less involved, but he can't help himself because he's got to do the right thing.
Yep. And
And
it,
that earns
but
my number two list.
yeah. Um yeah, I think the quote that summarizes him is man's got to have a code.
Absolutely. I think him and Ryotaro would get together like really well.
Oh yeah.
And I see your number one, and I have maximum respect for that choice. He was almost on my list. So why don't you tell us your number one,
The
Brandon?
only man who could have budged out Risui's sacrifice in this season, and that is Will Sorfort of Wisteria Wand and Sword, which is basically kind of the point of the story, is that his superpower is being just a complete Chad.
Excellent choice. I cannot dispute that choice, but I have my own number one that probably I'm not sure if it surprises you or not, but
Not really.
it's Rose from Agents of Four Seasons, and I'll tell you why. This guy has also been through hell. The love of his life sacrificed herself to protect him. And weaker men would break under that levels of sadness or turn themselves into monsters. And he did neither. He rose up to become a stronger person, not just to protect her, though. When he finds out that the Maiden of Fall has been kidnapped, he doesn't go, "Oh, well, that's their problem. They didn't help us when we needed help." Things that you'd expect people to do, and a lot of people in that story did. His immediate reaction was, "All right, let's go get her." God damn, dude. So yeah, that's why he got my number one.
A very fine choice.
All right. Well, from biggest chads to funniest shows, and I suppose it's my turn to go first. So
Indeed.
my third place funniest show goes to Doctor Stone's Science Future. I had a hard time picking the funniest show this season because honestly, this was not a comedy season. This was very much a drama and action season. But Doctor Stone, it's not really a comedy, but it can be funny when it wants to be, and it has plenty of occasion to do that this season. So
Yep.
that's why I
A
got my
fine
third
choice.
place. So what's your third place?
Yeah, I never really think of Dr. Stone as being a comedy show.
I
Think
don't
of it as
either.
being
I really
a drama that has a lot of funny moments, certainly.
it
But
is, and you're complete. That's why it's third place.
okay.
It's not a comedy, but in terms of funniest shows, it barely eked out third place because of lack of competition. Honestly,
Yeah. And it's actually kind of the same reason for my number three, which is Marriage Toxin,
a
which
similar case. It's a
again is
drama action that has some comedic moments.
yeah, it's more just things just get so bonkers. It's more
They
that it's
do. I
specifically trying to be
totally see
funny.
it. I totally see it. If you put
Um,
that at like higher than third place, I wonder what you're talking about. At third place, that makes total sense.
yeah, because
And
it's the one
somehow
aside from our first two, it's the one that made me laugh most consistently.
that's fair. And that's again we picked separately, and yet we had the same number two and number one. So which one do you want to talk about?
I'll go with number two because I know you're bursting to talk about number one.
I really am.
Okay, so my number two or our number two is Kill Blue, which it is very much a comedy show aside from
It
everything else,
it really is.
and it is just bonkers, in the best possible way. It is just the whole situation is ridiculous, and it leans into that hard, especially since every single one of the antagonists, at least the serious antagonists, is just their own brand of bonkers and unrealistic, and it is so funny, sweet, infuriating by turns. It's great.
Can't argue with that. And our mutual number one pick, an observation log of my fiance who calls herself a Velmus. Because look, this show is really sweet and really cute and really dramatic when it wants to be, but it also is really, really funny when it wants to be. If it's
Oh
Tia
yeah.
being an absolute spaz on one end, to Syl just being this way overprotective into comedic levels of a character, to any of the crazy stuff that some of the side characters do, no other show made me laugh as much as Observation Log did. This show has the comedic chops when it needs them.
Oh yeah.
Um, of none of these, I would say, are pure comedies. Not any of our four picks between the two of us, but they all have comedic moments. But this is definitely the strongest case for a comedy in my opinion.
Drama, comedy is definitely one of the core elements of this show.
Absolutely. All
All
right.
right.
Well, from laughs to blasts, it's time for our best action. And I lost track. Are you first or am I?
I believe it's my turn.
Then why don't you tell us your number three best action?
So my number three is once again Kill Blue because
Excellent choice. It can really
when it
get there.
yeah yeah because again it leans into the ridiculous and just has zero fucks to give. It's great.
No, no, that's probably my fourth place. So I have zero problems with that being there. That makes total sense. My third place goes to Daemons in the Shadow Realm because when it wants to do action, holy shit, does it do action? The reason it's not higher on my list is because it's more of a contemplative drama that has flare ups.
Right. Well, I agree so much. It's my number one, and it's because when it does action, it is absolutely brutal and
Oh, yes.
extremely believable and bordering on realistic within the confines of the world that it's describing, which makes you take what's happening very seriously.
I would
And,
agree with you.
violence has real weight in this world, in this
That's
story. So,
that makes sense. We somehow picked the same second place. It's not my surprise to me that we both picked it. We both picked it for second place.
yeah. And that would be, of course, Wistoria, which it continues
Oh
to be
my
an absolute
gosh.
masterclass in ass kicking. Which
This one
again
gets
is kind of the
there.
point of the show, but
This one gets there on the strength of the animation.
right.
When this thing goes action,
Yeah.
the fluidity of that animation really carries it. Holy
Right.
crap.
But the skill
Wistoria
of
is a
the animation
spaceship.
itself would not be as good without the framing and the cinematography, which is how what I'm looking at for action
That's the
specifically. So
animation.
they work right, but what are you animating? How are you
Right,
framing it?
right.
It's the
No, no,
same things that
I
would
get
go
you.
into a live action sequence.
Oh yeah, well, and that's called being a skilled animator because they do that for animation. They do storyboard animation.
Right, but it's again, direction is direction.
Yes, yes. I'm just saying that goes into the good animation in general, but I get what you're saying. I mean, Wistoria's action is really, really well done, and it's just pops. They put the budget into it, and it shows. Well, we already know that your number one is Daemons of the Shadow Realm.
Mhm.
Now, here's the question: how surprised are you that my number one is That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime season four?
Slightly, because I don't recall there being that much action this season specifically, but what there was very good. So
That's
legit.
why it's not number one because okay, now like Daemons of the Shadow Realm, Slime took its time getting there, but when it got there, the big fight in the underground is a masterpiece of combat animation. I'm also slightly giving it for that intro sequence.
Fair enough.
But for the most part, I'm really looking at the big final fight at the end. But also, there's some flare-ups in the council chamber, and those were really well done. But the big one that I'm looking at was Yuki versus Rimuru primarily, but then also Maribel versus Rimuru also. Like there was some really good fighting in there. The action on Slime I felt was really good when it got there.
Indeed.
Well, as mentioned, action and animation do tend to go hand in hand, but they are two different things. I have actually
Mhm.
put something I didn't even consider for action in best animation. So I suppose we should get started with best animation, and I believe it's your turn, Arc. So what's your number three for best animation?
That would be Witch Hat Atelier.
I agree so much. That's actually my first place pick.
Yeah, I mean the animation is definitely a lot of money was put into it. It doesn't hit you over the head usually with the animation itself.
Oh, it
I'll
does.
talk more about it when we get to art direction, which is what
It,
I think was more what it was leaning on. But
I heavily disagree with you on that. Do you remember the sequence with the dragon and fighting the
I did
water
say
and
you. I said usually. So yes,
uh
there are definitely moments.
in general, like honestly, I have not seen an anime animate this well in a long time.
What I'm trying to say is that it's the normality, in a sense, the things that are just everyday in this world, but it's the consistent quality of the animation that carries that across so well. It's not something you would notice unless you were looking for it, but that is like a good soundtrack, what makes it so good.
Sure, I agree. That's why I'm giving it number one because I think it carries its high quality animation in high and low sequences. That's why I put it as high as I did.
Okay, so what's your number three?
My number three goes to Daemons of the Shadow Realm.
Okay.
Because it really does a good job of animating, like you were saying, like the really heavy cost of action when it does that. That's one where I feel like they budget for the action, and then for everything else is kind of standard animation, which isn't bad, but that's kind of why I put it lower on my list.
Yep. So much so that that's my number two, and specifically, it is for the aforementioned the titular demons, or daemons, that I think I put it above Witch Hat because it it did a really good job. Because Witch Hat is just a completely different world, so everything's consistently kind of a little bit different. But Demons of the Shadow Realm is a blending with our own world,
Hmm.
and so to make these daemons feel like they have a reality in the same way that the stuff we're accustomed to does, and to make it all so seamless, was, I think, extremely well done here.
Can't argue that. It did hit my list for a reason. It's very good.
All right.
And
And
we only have one placement left, which is my second place and your first place, which is the same item.
mhm,
And honestly, given the fact that we've already mentioned Witch Hat Atelier and Daemons of Shadow Realm, what else could it be?
but Wisteria, Wand, and Sword.
As mentioned in the action section, holy crap, the animation in Wisteria. I totally see why you put Wisteria at number one. I think Witch Hat's better in the animation, but we're talking about like, do you like a high class steak or do you like fettuccine alfredo from a really nice Italian restaurant? Like, they're both really, really, really good.
Indeed.
So yeah, I mean, Wisteria is gorgeous. And what I will say about
Yeah.
Wistoria's
Just
animation in comparison is, holy cow, the explosions.
yep. And just the sheer sense of style
Oh yes,
that echoes
Wistoria's
across
definitely got
Wisteria.
more style. Wistoria, if we were talking art direction, I think Wistoria would definitely be.
Yeah, it's more stylized, whereas Witch Hat and Demons of the Shadow Realm are trying to feel more real.
Hmm. I
Whereas
say that
Wisteria
knowing I
almost
didn't
feels like it almost
trust art
feels
direction.
mythological in a good in if that makes any sense.
No, I think that makes total sense. I'm just kicking myself for saying that though, because I totally put Witch Hat on my best art direction and I didn't do Wistoria, but oh well.
Um yeah, I mean honorable mention. And actually one other thing about animation in general is I did want to do an honorable mention for Drops of God when it comes to animation. And it is
You're
and the
going to
reason
piss off everyone.
no, 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 let me explain. It's not that it's not it's an honorable mention not for good animation across the board, it's for the very targeted use of a limited budget, if I'm not mistaken. Because you notice most of the animation in Drops of God is C tier at best, but those fluid shots, that's where the money went. And it makes perfect sense when you consider what the show's about.
I
So
get you.
that is why I give it honorable mention for, uh, using a very limited budget in a very targeted way to great success, I think, as far as it went.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's definitely got good fluid
There's no way
animation.
it could have made any of the top three, but I thought it deserved a mention for using what it had very well.
All right. Well, it's time for best drama. And again, I lost place of who's where. I think I'm going first, but I'm not sure.
Sure.
Okay. So for third place for best drama from me, it's Witch Hat Atelier, which I really like and I enjoy it, but I do think there's better dramas out there for this season, but it's definitely worth noticing.
Indeed. A fine choice.
So what's your third place?
And my number three, this is yet another instance of, even with the massive handicap of having us lavish this show in awards in previous seasons, it still beat its way into number three, Oshinoko,
I
because
mean, Oshinoko's drama.
continues to be something very special.
It really is. That's probably fourth place for me. Oshinoko was fantastic.
Yeah.
So my second place goes to actually a show I don't actually like that much, but I gotta give it to it for the drama. Drops of God.
Indeed, a fine choice. I'm glad it made your list because it was one I really wanted to award, but got pushed down.
It got put in there specifically because the whole rivalry between the two sons thing is actually pretty clever and really well done. And I can see them kind of coming together over times over certain things and then fighting apart over certain things. It's that is really well done. And coming to terms with father's death, coming to terms with his
Mhm.
father's passions, which he didn't like. There's some really good writing in here. I don't care so much because to me it's all just kind of like, okay, crazy winos. But honestly, there is some really good writing in there.
Absolutely. And speaking of superlative writing, Demons of the Shadow Realm is my number two
Excellent choice. I
because,
almost
yeah,
put that in there for me. I really almost did. It is a fantastic drama. I didn't just because I wanted to shout out some other things. Honestly, it on its own merits, it probably belongs higher on my list. But
eh,
and then again, I got Witch Hat and you got Damon's, and they both belong in here. So we covered each other.
yep. And there's no question as to the number one purest of pure dramas for this season that
No, we
executed
both
very
came to
well.
it, and that's Agents of the Four Seasons, Dance of Spring. No show rendered me to tears as consistently as this season, or in most seasons, to be honest. This show just really got my emotions running.
Yeah. And to me, it just became much over muchness for my taste, but what it was doing masterfully. So,
It is, in my estimation, it is the perfect examination of trauma and how what trauma does to people. We see all kinds of reactions to
absolutely.
trauma, and they're all different.
I think that's very well put.
I really wanted to do a show episode on Four Seasons, but I know you don't really care for it, so I'm kind of getting that out here. And just
No, it's just it touches on too much that I've seen at second and third hand. I think it's more that okay, full disclosure, it's less that I don't like the show, it's more that it makes me too uncomfortable because of things that I know about. Not things that have happened to me, thank God, but that have happened to people I know and people I've read about and stuff. And it hurts to have all of that dredged up at once the way this show does. So,
I understand that. For me, it's not that I'm not aware of any of that. I totally am. It's that it brings it up, but it doesn't drown it. It overcomes that. And to me, what's a better drama than all the evils of the world and yet coming up, rising above that and surpass and beating it? That is such a good story.
fair
And I
enough.
don't mean like, oh, like the evil empire. No, I mean like real human bullshit, like
Mhm.
you said, but overcoming that. To me, there's nothing more uplifting than that.
Yep. The more you learn about real evil, for the most part, it really is banal, and that's the worst part about it.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, one of the uh one of the antagonists in that who I don't really have a place for. Um there's the secretary guy to the main antagonist is just like, oh well, I started doing this to make her happy, and I just kept doing it, and he's just doing this awful things because,
Hmm. Yeah, I
and
mean,
that to me,
it would
that's real,
examine it. Yeah, examining it would hurt, and you would have to rethink your life, make a new life. It's just
and he
much
just
better
can't
not to
do that.
think about it. Yeah,
Hmm.
not guilty in the sense of the indictment,
So
if you know that
that's
quote.
why indeed. Well, that's why had to put it at number one because nothing I've ever seen really covers it that well like this does.
Fair enough.
All right, well, it is your turn to lead us off for best protagonist.
All right. So I'm putting this in here mostly just as a my own taste because I wanted to shout out Bookworm somewhere because I love this show and his
Oh
books
yes,
so fucking much. But also Rosemine is one of the better protagonists ever that I've come across. She's just amazing.
Rosamine's great, and I
So
almost put
yes,
her here. I also wanted to shout out Bookworm. I have another award for it later. That's very much the I have to talk about Bookworm.
excellent. Yep.
But
So
Rosamine's
that's
great.
basically it. She's just our
The
adorable little
book obsessive.
monomaniac. Yep. Yep.
My third place goes to Rimuru Tempest from That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime because dude's a bro.
Yep. Absolutely.
He's one of us.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I mean, yeah, the fact that you 2 made the same joke in almost the same moment, that
that's happened,
the
yes.
people who did the thing, because they made this, some of his people made this, sword with 3 spaces where you could slot in magic gems, and so the guys, watching the anime, they're like, "Oh, materia," and at the same moment, Rimuru, refers to it as materia, they're like, "What?" He's like, "Never mind."
He cuts himself off probably for legal
Yeah,
reasons, but he totally starts saying
right.
material, and it's just like, oh god,
That's what
darn it,
they
Rimuru.
are. That's what
Oh,
they
it
fucking
totally
are.
was. It totally was. So yeah, no, Rimuru is just such a fun character. If I got isekai, I'd be Rimuru. At least I'd try to be. I don't know if I'd be that awesome, but I try.
Well, I mean, he has a lot of help.
He
So,
does. Well, what's your number two?
that would be Miss Coco of Witch Hat Atelier because, and obviously, I mean, she was written for the world was written for her, but is there ever a better pairing of a world and a protagonist to explore it with?
I would say maybe, but the fact she is very good for that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not asking is there ever as good because I can name you scores of things that are as good, but I can't recall anything better.
I'd have to seriously think about it, and that tells you that
Hmm.
yeah, excellent character choice. Can't argue that. Well, my number two is the only one that we share, because it's your number one, and that's
Hmm.
Yuru from David's the Showerman. We said it when we had Kuro on to talk about it. This character don't fuck around.
Yeah, he is a badass in the truest sense of the word. Still young, but you know, I'm kind of terrified to see what he'll be like once he's gets a little more life experience.
Yeah, no, he's really interesting. He is straight shooter. He doesn't mess around. He's a great protagonist. I'm only gonna kind of go into because we totally went into him in detail. So
Yep. So yeah, go check out that episode because you get not just us banging on, but also the lovely and talented Kuro.
indeed, and as always with episodes with awards, I will be linking any episode we make that refer to those shows.
Okay.
But Euro's not my number one. Because my number one, you want to talk about placement because I have to shout it out. My number one goes to Senku Ishigami of Dr. Stone. This is a Lifetime Achievement Award for the entire show.
Fair.
Talk about a great protagonist. Dr. Stone himself, as we learn at the end of the show. Senku is indomitable, kind at the end of the day, and a freaking genius. The perfect combination. I love this character. I've loved this character for 7 years now. And it's been a wild ride, and I love him. So I had to put him at number one. Well, it's time to go to the dark side arc. We're going to best antagonists. So why don't you lead us off?
Okay, so my number three is a little bit blurred with your number three. It's I couldn't pick just one, so I'm giving a
Oh, I
group
could.
award to the brimmed caps from Witch Hat because they are all delightfully psychotic.
I picked out one specifically because of what he does.
Yeah.
And
So why
how
don't
he
you talk
talks about
about
it.
him?
So I'm gonna throw Sasaran in here for the Mr. Cloak guy in Witch Atelier because
Hmm.
this guy, he's not just, oh, look, we're going to screw with things. He got personal. We've only seen two, and Iguin, the other brimmed cap, the worst thing that she did is, oh, I'll put you in a little test area and see how you do with the dragon, teehee. This guy grabbed a got and started clawing a scratch that bleeds into a got's arm to draw a circle on her because he wanted to make some kind of a point. And when that fails, and he gets a hold of Uini, he pulls a Shao Tucker on him, laughing about it the whole goddamn time. No, no, no. One of these things is not like the other. One of them is bad. The other one is get the firing squad.
Oh yeah, it's not a person anymore; it's a thing.
You say that? I disagree. People can be horrible, and I will absolutely still call it a person, but that doesn't make it any less bad.
Yeah. Well,
I
there comes a point at which, by your own choice, you're not really fully human anymore, by my reckoning. But
I understand why you do that, but to me, that's cheapening out and pretending that humans are better than we are.
to me, it's more just mental defense for when you got to put it down. But
When you got to put a
there's a
human
re-
down,
there's
you
a
got
re-
to put a human down. That's the way I
right,
look
but
at it.
there's a reason people depersonalize people they want to kill. It's because it's kind of a necessary psychological step.
I think it's just being cheap, but I guess that's me.
Yeah, well,
You got to put them down because of what they've done, but that doesn't mean they're less human.
philosophically, I agree with you, but practically, the human mind doesn't work. At least the healthy human mind doesn't work that way.
Yeah. I disagree, but we've talked about that before. So why don't you tell us
Mhm.
your number two?
My number two is Toshiro Dogo, also known as the leader of the Beast Clan from Marriage Toxin, because
Excellent choice.
this is more one where just he managed to raise my blood pressure to unhealthy levels, which is always the sign of a good villain.
Oh, well, that's kind of what happens for my number two pick, so I totally get that.
And your pick is?
My number two pick is Misuzu Henderson in Ages of the Four Seasons, because you're gonna be my daughter. By the way, if
Yeah.
you don't be my daughter, I'm going to be abusive, and even if you are going to be abusive, what the? And I'm gonna control gods. T. What is your damage, woman? Yeah, your daughter died. Get over it. You don't get to do these things to other people. You dumb, horrible. Ah.
It's called Psychosis.
I mean, yes, but I mean, you see what this character does to me.
Oh yeah, I didn't even want to think about her, which is why she's not on my list. So
I mean, I had she was the first one I thought of. So,
fair enough.
and yet we have the same first place. And again,
Oh
we
yeah,
picked these completely separately, and yet there was no other choice.
yeah, and that would be Maribel Rozzo from Reslime, because oh my
Oh my
goodness.
god, what a horrible human being.
Hmm.
Humans have to be superior, but only us. It's only for our family. But human supremacy. But
Yeah,
everyone
it's
thinks
just
like
it,
me.
no, it's just I want what I want, and I will make whatever justifications and manipulations in order to get what I want.
But she's
And
not even self-aware enough to admit it.
yeah, I mean, but this is something people do.
It is. I agree. But that's why I hate her.
Yep.
All right. Well, I suppose it's my turn to start us off with the best vocal performances.
Okay.
And my third place pick goes to Blake McNamara as Cecil Glow Alfasta in an observation log of my fiance who calls herself a villainess because a goddamn dude. That is a fantastic voice for that character, and it really carried it for me.
Indeed. Very well done. And so my number 3 was given for a very specific reason.
I
This
almost
is
did
to
this.
yes, to our old friend Adam Gibbs.
Take a shot.
Say his name and he appears.
Yep, in as the eponymous dragon in reincarnated as a dragon hatchling. Now, the reason I'm giving him an award is for carrying the first half of pretty much an entire show by his goddamn self,
You're
almost
not wrong.
entirely,
He's probably my
without
fourth place
without
pick, and I
without
almost
it
did this.
without it being lame somehow. That's
Yeah,
not easy to do. I don't think there's many voice actors who could do that. Because without anyone to play off, it becomes very, very difficult, I would think. So it's that specifically.
mm-hmm. Holy
Okay.
crap, we did it again. No, we have the same second place, and again, neither of us had any idea.
Oh yeah.
But this is such a good performance.
Oh yeah.
And we just
It
got done
really
talking
brings it
about the
away.
character just a minute ago.
Yep.
So
And
our
that would
mutual
be
second place pick is
Kira Buckland as Maribel Rotso in Re-Slime.
the character would not be nearly as I mean, she'd still be hateable, but Kira Buckland's voice work for Maribel is
Oof.
perfect.
Oh yeah.
It's perfect. Oh, she's so hateable, and it's so well done. I gotta give my props to that.
All right.
So who's
And
your number one?
my number one, somewhat surprising me as the vocal performance that stood out the most to me in this season was Marcus D. Stimac as Zeo Thorsius Reinbolt, which is the lightning asshole in Wistoria.
Oh, interesting choice. I did not expect to see that.
Because, first of all, he had a lot of fun with it, which
Oh,
comes
he
through.
absolutely did.
But that's not why. Well, the reason is that this is a character who on the surface seems very one-dimensional, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot more to him than that. And even as much as he's, grandstanding and rah rah rah, I think Marcus does a very good job of conveying that there's layers to this asshole.
Yeah,
And I could be wrong, but that's what that performance really at every turn suggested to me.
I can
That
see
this
why you
man
picked it for that.
isn't just the barbarian that he presents himself as.
That's a really good choice for that reason, and I agree. I think the performance does belay that. But my number one, I was the only one I could put at number one, and it was not the same.
Fair enough.
My number one goes to Joshua Waters as Keyfree, and which I to tell you because that character is beautifully nuanced. For as much as I suss the character, I'm sussing him because he's beautifully nuanced, and that is
Oh yeah.
perfectly carried by Joshua Waters. Because I mean, Keyfree in one sense can be really warm and really kind and really caring, and then in the next breath be incredibly sinister and terrifying. And it takes a really good voice actor to jump from one to the other and be really good at both. And
Mhm.
Josh Waters nails that with flying colors.
Yeah. It's also hard to be very sinister while you're being soft spoken like that.
Yes, it really is. And yet he makes it work.
Indeed, a very fine choice.
Indeed. Uh, I believe that's our best vocal performances, so it's time to move on to best art direction.
Okay. So what's your number three? Okay.
My number three is Ascendance of a Bookworm, Adopted Daughter of the Archduke. This is the one I put in because I had to do something for Bookworm. And this season in particular, they really upped the quality of not just the animation, but the art direction as well.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, it's so pretty.
Yep. Well, considering everything kind of grew out of those amazing illustrations by Yushina, I believe is the artist's name from the
I believe
books.
that's correct. Yep.
So yeah, they were starting at a run, but yeah, this whole team just picked up the ball and just kept going.
I would say one of the reasons that this is better is they got better to being on model. The previous seasons weren't bad by any stretch of imagination, but I feel like this is a step closer to those original illustrations.
Fair enough.
So what's your number three?
My number three is the Drops of God because again, the animation is mostly for crap, but the actual art is fantastic, and in
Oh yeah,
particular, the
I'll give you that.
visualization sequences with the wine
It
and all
it
that.
does do a good job of that. I can totally see why you pick it for that. I
So
was
yeah, that's
getting
pretty
ready to
much it.
ask you, but your explanation makes total sense.
Yep, and also, I mean, it's just kind of such a strange little show. It's also the sense of, I want people to check this show out because it's just
It's
odd in
It
the
is
best
a very
possible way.
interesting show. I enjoy it. I really it's not my
Yeah,
favorite show, but it's a good
yeah,
show.
exactly. All right, so what's your number two?
My number two goes to Witch Hat Atelier because I mean, look at it.
Okay, I mean, I agree so much. It's my number one.
And I have no question why that's your number one. I have a different number one, but I honestly totally see why you do Witch Hat as number one.
Yep.
What's your number two?
Well, my number two is Demons of the Shadow Realm because again, that blending of reality and unreality is actually much harder to do than I think most people appreciate because we know what reality looks like. And so when you try to incorporate anything just not into it, I think it takes a lot more artistic sensibility to do it in a
I
seamless
would
way
totally
than
agree
most
with you.
people realize.
In fact, that's actually why I picked my number one. It's pretty much the same reason.
Okay,
My number one is Agents of the Four Seasons Dance of Spring, and it has everything to do with how the powers are manifest.
fair enough.
The seasonal powers are so out there because they're you're using the season's power in or out of season, and it does things, and they really do a good job of capturing that and putting it to a realistic setting and making it meld perfectly well. But also, just the designs of the characters are really visually attractive. They do a really good job in general.
Indeed. So, yeah, it's probably my number four.
Fair enough. All right, it's that time. It's time to scream about idiots. I'm actually going to take charge because you usually do best shows first. So I'm going to do dumbasses first so we can switch you to that. So, for my third place biggest dumbass goes to Kreutz Harlan of Wistoria 1 and Sword. Because this guy thinks he's smart, but he's not really thinking it through.
Dunning-Kruger effect is very much a thing.
Yeah, we have this guy. We can tear him apart and replicate his power. Can you? And how
Yeah,
much time is
maybe.
that going to take?
Yep. Yeah, and can you
And
guarantee me that you'll succeed?
And if you do, how long is that going to even take? We have one right now, and when we need him right now because we're under extreme threat, do you have the time to replicate him? I don't think you do.
Yeah,
Dum dum.
I think, yeah, it's, again, unconscious justification for his sick obsession.
I can't argue that. Um, and I'm just noticing we had the same 2 and 1. So, who's your third place?
Okay, so my third place is Lucas from the beginning
Oh,
after the
shit.
end because
Oh
my god.
my god. Talk about having a psychotic turn for literally no reason.
Yeah, well, it's not for no reason, but it's just pathetic across the
No,
board.
it's no reason because it hadn't gotten to the point where it was hopeless yet until he made it that way.
Right. Well, it's just continuously making all of the wrong decisions
Mm-hmm.
is the thing. I mean, if it wasn't for some reason his family continuing to his family should have put him down quietly by now because he is a fucking ability unless the whole
Well,
family's like that. We'll
well,
see.
what with families like this, then look at the Rotsos in Reslime as well. They consider themselves above the
it's it's
everyone
not
else.
it's not that he's making mistakes, he's embarrassing them is the thing. The
Well,
Rotsos,
see,
like Maribel until the end there, she was doing great
well,
as
again,
far
it
as I
comes
could
down
tell.
to Maribel made lots of stupid mistakes because she was making assumptions.
Right, but they didn't realize that until the end is the thing.
Right.
Because they didn't
But
know what
here
they didn't know.
and yet at the end, you don't have her grandfather going, "Oh, she screwed up." Whatever. He's actually really torn up about it because that's how these families are. People like to see themselves as above everyone else. So if there's an embarrassment, you don't get rid of the embarrassment; you get rid of the evidence. See also human history.
Well, right, but
You
also,
don't you
I mean,
don't get rid of the
if somebody is continuously an embarrassment, I mean, yeah, you don't publicly say, "Oh, he was gotten rid of because he was such an embarrassment." No, it's just, "Oh, he had a tragic accident," or "Oh, he fell ill." So sad, you know. You
well,
never
they don't.
admit to the mistake. You never admit to the mistake, but you stop the person making them.
And from their perspective, he made one mistake, and they're just going to cover it up
Well, we'll
because that's what
see.
they do. And even they might not even consider it a mistake. And I mean, he was just protecting himself.
Right. Well,
But we have some more people to rant and scream at because we have this. I don't know how we did the same 2 and 1 in the exact same placement, other than the fact that they're both infuriating, but we did.
just absolute idiots.
I assume I'd rather scream about number 2 and you'd rather scream about number 1. Is that a fair
Sure.
assessment? I mean, we can both scream at them both because they're both
Hmm.
freaking stupid. But our mutual second place pick is Iseki Sagami from Snowball Earth because, dude, come the hell on. You're willing to sacrifice and murder people on your way to being this quote unquote savior because you want to be the savior. Who are you saving? You're not a savior if you're
Yeah, it
literally.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is that he is that he is seen and known. And again, it's all about him.
Oh, and that's why he's a fucking dumbass.
Oh yeah, loser.
I mean, dude, at least he realizes it as he's dying.
Well, that's the thing. It's
That
just like
is,
consistently throughout his life, he just keeps losing and losing and losing. It's like, dude, at a certain point, you got to realize that you're doing something wrong.
you would think, but he's really, really stupid. But not quite as stupid as our number 1 pick, who is unfortunately still alive at this point.
Yeesh. Well, who knows? Maybe he'll die doing something useful, although I doubt it.
Everything I have heard, he does more of killing people in the future, not so much getting killed.
Yes, the Witchfinder General who doesn't quite know where to find actual witches. So
You keep saying that, but there's no evidence he hasn't.
right, well, I don't know. I mean, considering his competency thus far that we've seen, it's like, dude,
You're
come on.
making up stuff, though. It's I want to get mad at him for things he's actually done.
I guess it's just he doesn't
If
seem
the show,
interested in analyzing anything.
and that's why he's a dumbass, and that's why he's my number 1. This guy refuses to look at details. He just makes his assumption and runs with it.
Yeah. Even me, I'm Mr. Murder is the answer, but it's again, you don't just kill everybody unless, you're just blowing up the whole world, which there's a time and a place for that, but this
Well,
is
he's not
it.
killing everyone, just whoever he thinks is guilty. he decided they're guilty, so he goes out, and even he
Yeah.
doesn't
You
kill
know
them
who
either.
he is?
which
Do you
why
know
it's
who he
numbered.
is?
Who is
You've seen the Phantom Toll Booth, right?
A long time
He
ago.
is Officer Short Shrift.
Yeah, I can see
Guilty.
that.
I've never seen anyone so guilty.
Yep, pretty much.
That is who he is.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
Yep. Yeah, but only a judge can convict you. Good point. I am also the judge. It's literally that, but not being reduced to the absurd.
He thinks he's Judge Dredd.
Yeah. Well,
I am the law. But Judge Dredd's
right,
actually
but
a good guy.
well, no, because Judge Dredd takes that responsibility absolutely seriously within the context of his world and the procedures.
Yes, although
The procedures he has, well, there's deep problems with the procedures and the law and
You
everything.
didn't let me say what I was trying to say.
Sorry.
There are characters in that mythos that would match Estes, though.
Oh God, yes. But that's the thing.
They are the bad guys.
Right. But again, if this guy was behaving more like Judge Dredd, I would have a lot more time for him, because then it would be, okay, we're going to sit down and we're going to talk this through and we're going to look at the evidence and and
I
yes,
think that's not what Judge Dredd does.
It depends. If he's got open and shut evidence, then yeah. But
How much
I
Judge
think
Dredd have you seen?
I
don't
a few
think you know the
comics and the
character very
movies,
well.
but right. Well, that's the nature of the law and the service that he's in. If it was required of him to do more investigation, I think he would.
Question mark.
I don't know. He seems like the guy to just follow the rules as written, because they're the rules.
So is Estes.
I don't know.
Honestly, I think they're pretty similar.
Hmm.
The difference is Judge Dredd is usually right.
Yeah.
But in terms of and that's why we see them differently. But in terms of what they do, it's pretty much the same thing.
I guess. Anyway,
I mean, he's really it's really stupid, but that's why he's our number one. Well, Ark, it's time for us to talk about the best shows of the season. And this is a point where some people are just jumping in, because this is the top 10 shows of the season for both of us. We've gone into all kinds of categories up until this point, but it's the final countdown. So why don't you tell us your number 10 show?
and my number 10, bringing back what you said earlier, this is the reason I put this at number 10 is because I just want to surface it to the people who are tuning in just now, which is The Drops of God. This weird show that I think you should absolutely check out if you have the time, just because it's different.
Fair enough. My number 10, only because I couldn't put it higher, but I still really wanted to shout it out, is Kill Blue.
Okay.
So what's your number 9?
My number 9 would be Wistoria, Wand, and Sword.
An excellent choice. My number 9 is Descendants of a Bookworm Adopted Daughter of an Archduke. Also on here because I wanted to put it higher, but there were some real heavy hitters for me this season.
Fair enough. But yeah. So my number 8 is Hell Mode. Hardcore gamer dominates in another world with garbage balancing. Just because pure personal preference, it's not doing anything particularly extraordinary, but it's is fun, a show that I have just consistently enjoyed.
It is a very enjoyable show. I didn't put it on my list. I'm glad it's on yours.
Okay. And your number 8?
My number 8 goes to Snowball Earth, because I had an absolute masterclass blast with it.
Okay. And my number 7 is Oshinoko, because holy shit.
I mean, Oshinoko's great. Number 7 for me is Wistoria, Wand and Sword Season 2.
Okay. And my number 6 is, again, the funniest show of the season, an observation log of my fiancée who calls herself a villainess.
An excellent choice. My number 6 goes to That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime is Season 4. Basically, 6 through 1 are kind of locked in for me is the problem for me. These are all so
enough.
good.
Yep. And so my number 5 is Ascendance of a Bookworm, adopted daughter of an Archduke, because I am just it's a mega fan of the books. And the fact that it's this far down says something.
Indeed. My number 5 is Oshi no Ko Season 3, because, I mean, holy cow.
Indeed. And my number 4 is Marriage Toxin, because it's
Excellent
just
choice.
fantabulous.
My number 4 choice was an observation log of my fiance who calls herself a villainess. Pretty much at this point, I really loved my top 4, and I really loved that show.
Fair enough. My number 3, and this is one that just I consistently adore, is Kill Blue.
An excellent choice. It barely made my list, but it did make my list. My number 3 is Ages of the Four Seasons Dance of Spring. I'm sure you're shocked to hear that made my third place.
Not at all. Well
I know.
deserved.
And our number 2 and number 1 are transposed.
Okay. So my number 2 is Witch Hat Atelier.
And my number 2 is Demons of the Shadow Realm, which of course means our number 1s are literally the other way around.
Yep. For me, Demons of the Shadow Realm is just across the board the best anime of the season, hands down.
And for me, it's Witch Hat Atelier. But picking between those two is really hard because they're both really, really, really good. For me, when you're making me pick between the two, Demon of the Shadow Realm is incredible. Witch Hat Atelier rockets past it on the sheer budget of that animation. The animation being that much better consistently across the board is what propels it above Damon's, because everything else we're talking about, really good storytelling, really good characters, amazing world. I mean, everything, great soundtracks. They're all both fantastic across the board. I think Witch Hat's slightly better in animation, but we're talking like the thinnest of margins between these two. And yeah, that's our top 10. So that's that. So, Ark, why don't you tell us about today's YouTube shout out?
Okay, so today we are shouting out someone who, at least if you follow the video game space, probably needs no introduction, but what the hell? And that would be Bellular News. And these are guys who started as WoW creators, and they still have a channel that does that specifically. But this is a small team from, I believe, Northern Ireland, who they are game devs. So they've made a very interesting narrative game, which I need to sit down and properly play. I did buy it, and it's about basically they just put out really well researched, very interesting, and above all, calm stories talking about the gaming industry and news therein. So there is no like one stop shop for all your gaming news, but they're a very valuable voice because they have this perspective of being both gamers and developers. And so they're kind of between all possible points of the compass, and I find their input very interesting.
I tend to find them as a very fair source.
Right.
They're not overly biased, and that really shows when they're fact based, and I really like that.
Yeah, they do have their biases and they generally try to acknowledge them, but so does everybody. But it's a nice balance with somebody like, for example, Legendary Drops, who's very much on the gamer end of things, or, he's one of the more coherent and reasonable of those people that
I
I've
mean,
found.
my favorite, if you want to talk about stand guys that are a little more biased, I go like Sid Alpha. Is one of my
Right, that would be,
favorites.
very much on the gamer end, and then of course
Hmm.
there's the shills at the shill end, who we're not going to name any names out of courtesy, but you know who they are.
Oh yeah,
Um, and yeah, Bellular kind of rides that line, and they make it look easy.
they do, and the fact that it's not says so much about them.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, that's our shout out.
Indeed. So it's time for us to close up shop a bit. So, Ark, why don't you tell people where they can find you, even though you're not on social media?
Yeah, so let's see. The Parcel Simulator dropped its big update. I've been having a blast with that. I think I've more or less got the big warehouse nailed down. I just need to perfect it. The big DLC of Terra for Terra Invicta is dropping tomorrow afternoon as we record this, so that'll consume my life. The 2003 scenario looks absolutely fucking killer. And a few other things as well. So yeah.
In terms of gaming, you can find me right now on the Switch Tube because my graphics card is toast. So Switch Tube has been where I've been gaming lately. But where you can find me on social media is I'm on Twitter at LaserKidPrime. You can find me on Blue Sky at LaserKid. You can also find me over on the Toonami Faithful podcast with friend of the podcast Sketch, Kuro, and several other awesome people where we talk about Toonami stuff. And that's about where you can find me, but you can find the podcast over on at Simuldub Saints on both Twitter and Blue Sky. And we've got a Facebook group you can find us at if you're into that. That is linked on the YouTube and Spotify pages that we have. Simuldub Saints for both. That's where the podcast lives. Spotify does push out the audio version of the podcast to several other podcast platforms. So it is available in a lot of other different places. We do recommend the video version because I do put in little jokes and little things here and there. However, if you prefer to just listen, by all means, you're welcome to do so. That's why it's there. So that's where you can find the podcast. So yeah, that's where you can find us. Well, that about does it for this week's episode of Simuldub Saints. So until next time, catch you later.